Good morning, everyone. We are about to begin. Let me say welcome to everyone who is currently on the platform. My name is Rosalind Jackson Richards. I'm the Director for Strategic Planning, Monitoring, and Evaluation here at RADA, likewise the Gender Focal Point, and I'll be your moderator for this morning's session. Some persons would have been with us since Monday when we first started this series of workshops under the theme Blooming in Agriculture, which is in celebration of International Women's Day. And we decided that this year we would take things or try to do things a little different, where we highlight and celebrate our women in agriculture and also present to you some emerging opportunities in the sector that you can tap into and explore in terms of venturing into these areas. Some persons would have been with us since Monday, and we want to say thank you so much for taking the time out to join in on these sessions. We do hope you found them useful thus far. There are others who are new to the sessions and are new to this space. And for that, we want to say welcome to you and thank you just the same. Today, we will be presenting to you some information regarding RADA's services that will benefit our women in agriculture. Not that we're being exclusive, but in celebration of International Women's Day, we're continuing to see how best we can provide the women in agriculture with enough information that can equip them and empower them in such a way where they can make useful decisions that will allow them to emerge as successful entrepreneurs in the sector. So I know we have some males online, and we want to say thank you, males. We do appreciate you just the same. We're not leaving you out. But as we all know, the sector is dominated by males. And as a strategic priority area of the ministry and also for RADA, we're seeking to attract new entrants to the sector to include women and youth. So we just want to welcome the females and see how best we can provide that hand-holding experience for them to make this activity or this business of farming viable and a reality for them. Today, we have a lineup of women as well who will be presenting to you. The areas that we'll be focusing on are related to livestock, plant health and food safety, and home economics and social services. So we have a great lineup for you today, and we do hope the sessions will be as beneficial as the others were. On Monday, we looked at some key areas that are booming in agriculture. And just to mention, we spoke about castor oil production, turmeric, and mushroom, and that's for day one. For day two, we spoke about tower farming and aquaponics, which are pretty much two methods which utilize greater use of water and greater use of small spaces. So for many of us who don't have access to land or access to a large amount of space, but still want to get involved in agriculture, those areas would be best suited for you. So, as I mentioned earlier, RADA will continue to support our farmers in whatever way we can. And while we seek to enlighten you on new areas or new opportunities within the sector, we also want to highlight how we will be able to support you. Hence today's presentation on some of our key areas of operations, as mentioned before. So, without further ado, we are going to take our first presenter, which is Miss Maxine Brown. Miss Brown is the livestock specialist here at RADA, and she'll be taking you through some of the areas of focus and roles and functions that our livestock officers play within the agricultural sector. At the end of each presentation, the presenters will give you an opportunity to ask questions, and if you require additional information, we will arrange to get that to you. So, Ms. Brown, it's now over to you. The space is all yours.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you very much, Mrs. Richards, for inviting me to be a part of this session. As you had indicated, today I will be speaking about the role and functions of the RADA livestock officers, and to say that I'll be focusing on the females today. So I just wanted from early just to let the males know that we appreciate all their efforts. They have been doing a wonderful job so far. But as we are celebrating, we're continuing the celebration of International Women's Day, we want to highlight the ladies a bit, both the livestock officers, the female livestock officers, and also our female farmers. But before we go into what are some of the roles of the livestock officer, we have to understand some of what is happening in the sector. So I'm just going to give you a snapshot of what is happening in the sector, because it is this understanding of the sector that guides the officers in being able to try to convince new investors in which areas they're supposed to invest in, to work with current farmers to see what are the needs that they need to pay attention to so that their farming can be successful. So we're going to start off with the meat that we all love in Jamaica. I tell them it is the meat that brings us out into the world, and it's the meat that takes us out of the world, or real Jamaican curry goat, right? So when we look at our data, our statistics, we realize that, okay, 92% of the goat meat that we eat, we produce locally. We also have persons who consume mutton. And this is the other thing that we also try to educate persons about, that mutton is really the meat from sheep, and the meat from goat is really known as chevron. And we say 3% of the meat that we consume, 3% of the mutton is produced locally. But when we looked at the overall picture, we realized that only 27% of the total production of meat, 27% of the meat that we consume is produced locally. And we are consuming annually approximately 2.3 million kilograms of meat, which is basically saying that we're paying $1 billion Jamaican dollars annually for import of meat to satisfy the demand. Because if we're producing only 27%, then the rest of it we have to import. So that is a great market potential, and that is why you'll see a lot of programs are coming out supporting the small ruminant industry. We take a quick look at beef, we realize that only 30% of the meat that we consume is produced locally. But I must clarify that a lot of the import is really our corned beef. When we look at our dairy sector, we're seeing that we're producing sometimes 12 million liters or 13 million liters annually. But this is not really impressive at all, because approximately 12 years ago, we were producing practically 35 million liters annually. And a lot of us know the story about the free trade that came into being, and it caused the importation of milk powder and the sector to go down. And we're trying to rebuild the sector, because this is another $1 billion area as well, which we have to be importing a lot of dairy products. When we look at poultry meat, eggs, and pork, we see some light at the end of the tunnel, because we are practically self-sufficient in these areas. And so it's a matter of trying to see how we can really continue to exploit our local market, but also look at export potential. And it is this information that the officers are armed with when they go out into the field to can tell you that, listen, these are some areas that we need to be implementing best practices, because if we're thinking about any kind of export, we have to get it right on the ground. And I'm not preempting my presentation, but that is why you will hear about the NATE program, the tagging of animals. The tagging of animals is really for a traceability system so that we can sell beef internationally. Because if we cannot tell where our meat is coming from, no other country will want to purchase from us. If you just to give you a bit of information, the beef patties that we sell overseas, we actually have to import the meat to make those patties that are going overseas, because we have to have a traceability system in place. So it is all of this information compiled together that the officers are armed with, and they go out there and try to educate the public. So what are some of the challenges? And while there are many challenges, one of the challenges that we have found is that we have limited female participation. And you'll hear us speak about women and youth. And for this area, I'm speaking about our young female and our older female. When we look at our database system, we realize that only 35% of the registered livestock farmers are females. So we still have a lot more work to do to get more females involved and to get them registered. We then realize that you have to be deliberate in targeting females, because different persons, different genders react differently under different kind of circumstances. So we know we have to develop and promote gender-specific programs and youth-specific programs. Technologies, when we're looking at technology, we have to see technologies that would be able to be best suited for females, that would make them want to use it, especially if you're talking about young females. We have to talk about now, if you're talking about record keeping, you're looking at your computers and laptops and all of these different sorts of technologies that will help them not only to attract them to the sector, but will also make them more efficient. We also continue our capacity building, because the more persons learn about their area of production, the better they can be able to adapt to changing situations and to be able to be successful. We try also to help our farmers to access markets, and we have to collaborate with other entities, because we realize that this is a big issue, access to land and to credit. We recognize that a lot of the lands are owned by males, and so we have to make deliberate efforts to see how we can get some of these lands in the hands of female and young persons, because you must understand that if you have just graduated college and you're really excited about going into agriculture, you wouldn't have been able to access enough funds to purchase land. So in these areas, we collaborate with the ministry and other stakeholders to try and facilitate that. Now, looking at the RADA structure, how it is that we're able to service the farmers out there. We have a livestock unit with a livestock specialist, which is myself, and we have divided the island into east and west. So you have 7 officers in the east, and you have 6 officers in the west. I indirectly supervise the officers, but their day-to-day supervision is under the management of the parish agricultural managers. As I indicated, we have both male and female officers on staff, and in the west, we said we have 6 officers and we have 1 female livestock officer. In the east, we have 7 officers and we have 2 female livestock officers. So out of the 13 livestock officers that we have 3 female officers on staff. I just wanted to highlight a point, since we're here looking at the parishes and the officers. Remember and take note, we have 1 livestock officer per parish. Each parish is divided into additional extension areas where you have an extension officer. The ratio that we say that the officers have to work with, we say the extension officer, you have at least 1 officer to approximately 2,000 farmers. So you can do the math if you're in a parish where you have 5 extension areas, and for each of those extension officers, you have 2,000 farmers, and you have 1 officer who is supposed to service all the farmers in that parish. So the officers have been working feverishly every day to try and ensure that all the farmers are getting attention. And these are the category of animals that the officers have to work with: our goats and our sheep farmers, layer, broiler, pig, beef, dairy, rabbit, apiculture, and sometimes from time to time we have other farmers who are seeking our services, those who want to rear ducks or turkeys or quail. And I'm showing this because you have to appreciate that there are certain risks associated with this type of job. You run the risk of being stung, bitten, butted, scratched, pecked at, and getting scraped. So it is a job that you really have to love, and you really have to be careful when you're handling animals. So our main clients are our farmers. And with our farmers, there are a lot of different activities that we have to engage our farmers in, and to try and see how best we can make connections. And these are all the activities that we have to participate in, especially just for one farmer. You have to train, you have to monitor and visit, find market, participate in disease surveillance, develop programs, form groups so that they can benefit from other projects or programs. We have to do farmer registration. We participate in shows to try and highlight. And I'm going to go through just the key ones so that you can get a better understanding of the day-to-day activities of a livestock officer. So the big part of livestock production is really training. You have to understand the area of production that you're in. You have to understand the animals, what their needs, the practices that you need to engage in to make sure that your animals are happy and healthy. There is no stressed animal that is going to make you money. The animal is stressed, it is not going to be eating, it's not going to be drinking, and it's not going to be putting on the weight for you to make money at the end of the day. So we have to do a lot of training for farmers. And as you can see, or we train officers, farmers, we get them sometimes in the offices, we can train them, or we meet them wherever they are, out in the field, out on the farm, to ensure that they're getting valuable information. We also have to do training in the practical aspect because livestock is really a practical exercise. There are various husbandry practices that you have to engage in because you know the animals are reproducing and the care of the young animals are going to be different from the growing animals that are going to be different from the older animals. And so these are practical things that you have to know about. How do you handle all of these different categories of animals? And so as you can see, our ladies are learning how to tattoo their animals. So that older farmer is learning how to tattoo her pigs. And the other younger farmer is learning how to tag her animals. And this is really important because it's a big part of record keeping. And you cannot do the business of farming without maintaining records. And I find that the females are very good at keeping records. So we're encouraged by this. We also have to recognize that the future of agriculture resides in our kids. It is these younger persons that are going to be the future farmers, the future nutritionists, the future geneticists, and these are areas that we're finding that are lacking in livestock. We're lacking nutritionists, we're lacking geneticists, we're lacking researchers, and so we have to get it from an early age to say students need to understand that livestock is an area in which they can venture, and there are many areas within livestock that they can go into. And once we get through to them to say, well, these are areas, when they get to the stage where they're starting to choose their subjects or to choose their career, we're hoping that they look favorably on livestock and make it a career choice. We also do a lot of farm visits. And the farm visits, yes, is to talk with the farmers, to hear what are some of the issues, but it's also to examine the animals to see what are some of the problems that they're facing, the animals are facing, because sometimes it's almost like we're the voice for the animals. We have to see where the animals are having issues and to explain it to the farmers and to see what are the things that they need to do to ensure that the animals are healthy. There are some issues that we face on the farm that we can give the recommendation, the tips on how to care for it. If it is outside of our purview, then we try to link with the veterinary health technicians from Veterinary Services Division, who also try to assist the farmers. And we also have to ensure that farmers understand that farm hygiene is very important because their animals can get cuts and scrapes. And we know in Jamaica that we have a screwworm problem. Some of you will refer to it as you say the animals get maggots. And so because of this issue, we have to always treat wounds as early as possible so that they do not have a problem. We also ensure that we develop programs. Remember, we said that we have to target our females when we're developing programs. We make the extra effort to ensure that whatever program we have in place, we encourage the females to be a part of it. We just had a program that we're completing now, which is a program between the collaboration between the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries and RADA, which is a production incentive program for small ruminants. And we have ensured that our females have received all the benefits under the program. And just to note that COVID doesn't stop us. All we do is make sure that we're following the protocol and we still get on board and ensure that our farmers are getting the best service from us. We also participate in national programs where we have a disease surveillance program, and that is one of the male officers with a veterinary health technician, and he's actually guiding the officer to say where it is on the animal that you actually collect blood samples for analysis. And we also, as I indicated before, we participate in the National Animal Identification and Traceability System, NACE, which is a tagging of cattle. And we do have a lot of dairy farmers who have to get their animals tagged, because the tagging is for both dairy cattle and for beef cattle. We also do assessment for beneficiaries. So once we have identified that our female farmers need some assistance, we go on farm, we look at what is taking place, we identify where the shortcomings are, because we also have to pay attention to animal welfare issues. We have to ensure that the animals are placed in environment that will allow them to grow healthy and for you to make money. So it's not just about having a structure to put an animal. It's about having the structure in place that will ensure the safety of your animal, the well-being of your animal, because we do not want to see you lose any money. We want to make sure that it is a success. And after the assessment has been done, then we try to see how best we can assist the individuals in accessing, whether it's animals or feed or even materials sometimes, to ensure that your structure is secure. Introduction of new technologies. As I indicated before, we're dealing with females. So we try to make sure that whenever we are trying to modernize the farming operations, we encourage the females to come on board and be a part of it. The farmer in the orange shirt, as you can see, she has received what we call a shafting machine, or some persons call it a grass cutting machine. It is very important in the small ruminants and large ruminants industry, because you don't want any feed to waste, given that we're always suffering the impact of climate change. And from time to time, we will hear the complaints about not being able to find fodder, grasses, legumes to feed their animals. So the farmers will cut up the grass so that none of it is wasted. And apart from that, they can also go into process of silage making, which is what you see the other farmer is doing, putting it in bags. These are specialized bags, or sometimes you can use bin. There are different forms of silage making. So persons who are interested, all you have to do is just link with the RADA livestock officer to get on board with this. And this is important because you can store your feed for many years. And whenever you have a drought situation, you can always now open up your silage bags and have feed for your animals. Your animals must never be out of feed. Don't let them go hungry. These are your money makers. You have to realize that when a person comes on your farm and see your animals, right away, they can assess your wealth and your value. They can start to tell you how much each animal is worth and add it up for you. So you have to protect your money. And we're coming to the end. We identify markets for farmers, and I want to highlight this special project because we find a lot of female farmers are in the broiler industry. And this particular situation is one which developed because during the COVID time, we had a surplus of chickens, and the ministry tried to encourage other persons within the industry to purchase from the farmers. There was this buyer in St. Thomas who started taking chickens from some of the backyard producers. The relationship grew with the interaction of the RADA livestock officer, who is also a female as well. And she has been able to get together some kind of arrangement with the buyer where he purchases the feed for the farmers in bulk. He delivers it to them, and then he will purchase the chickens from them at the end of the production cycle. So this is in St. Thomas. This is a buyer that we are really happy about. This kind of arrangement is almost like you're saying, it's a pilot sort of situation. We're hoping other buyers could come on board and formulate this kind of arrangement. So we're happy that our ladies are getting this sort of assistance. So they are always assured of a market. We also participate in shows from time to time. This is when we tell the public about what it is that we're doing to highlight some of the activities. And we also try to show other types of livestock, as you will see that is in the picture, we're seeing some turkeys as well, to show that there are other areas of livestock production that persons could get into. And we have to, as we indicated, get the younger persons on board to get excited about it and to engage in it. We also develop training materials, and we have recognized that record keeping, as I indicated before, you can't be doing a business and not keeping records. We have made it easy for farmers to develop record keeping books. All you have to do is enter the data on your animals, and then you are able to do the analysis. So it's not just about writing down information. It's being able to say, how can I analyze it after a month or 2 or 3 months? What is happening on my farm? How do I know which animal is the best animal to keep or to sell? It is from the data that you collect. We have quite a bit of goat record keeping book that has been printed, which we're using to assist our farmers out there. So if you know of goat farmers, or, well, the book can be used for sheep farmers. It's just a matter of the semantics in terms of names. But if you know of farmers out there who are not tagging their animals, I've seen it many times in the news when they find animals, when animals are stolen and they find them, there's no identification mark on the animal, and it is very difficult for the farmer to get back their animals. If you have your record book and you have the identification mark on your animals, it is easier for you to get back access to your animals if it is found alive. We also collaborate with other stakeholders. We do not work alone. So we try to collaborate with High Pro. We try to collaborate with Nutramix, Dairy Board. As you can see, we are collaborating with them to train our farmers. And we collaborate with many other stakeholders nationally and internationally, because we have to always ensure that we are giving the farmers the best opportunity to be successful. And we are the ones who really go out there, even if it means that we have to Google the information, whatever it is, wherever the information is, or whatever the resources are to make you successful. Believe me, we are out there trying to get access to it. And lastly, our officers themselves need to build their own capacity, because things are always changing. New markets are always developing. There are always new criteria that are coming into place that they have to be aware of. So they have to be informed themselves so that they can go back out in the field to inform the farmers. And I just wanted to leave you with these few words from Margaret Thatcher, which said, if you want something said, ask a man. If you want something done, ask a woman. So we really need to get a lot more females in the livestock industry so we can get lots more done. So thank you so very much. I was given a short period of time because I could go on and on about livestock, and they know me in RADA already about it. So I'm hoping that I kept within the time, and I'm hoping that you really got a good understanding really of the hard work that the officers are out there doing, trying to make you successful. So the next time you feel like you want to complain, or you feel like you want to say, I haven't seen an officer, what you should be saying is that, how can I get more of these officers on board? Thank you so very much. It was a pleasure sharing with you the exciting world of livestock production.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ms. Brown. Wow, I'm very sure that the participants online greatly appreciate that kind of information that you just presented to them. And if I can just zoom in on a few points that you made that's worth mentioning. 2.3 million kg of mutton and chevron consumed annually. Can you believe that? And we only produce 30% locally. So there in itself, that presents a big opportunity for our farmers. So ladies, I know we are comfortable doing our layers and our broilers, but small ruminants, there is great opportunity, as Ms. Brown mentioned in her presentation. It lies for you. Great opportunities lies in this area for you. So see how best you can equip yourself with as much information. We can be contacted at any of our RADA offices if you require additional information on how to start in terms of getting the animals and, you know, getting involved. There are two questions, Ms. Brown, that we want to ask you to address. And the first one from one of our participants, are there any special grants for women in agriculture that currently exist that persons can benefit from?
We have grants, but unfortunately for livestock right now, it's not gender specific. So whenever we have grants, we make the deliberate effort to ensure that we include the females. And we have a number of projects that we're looking to see come on board for the next financial year. So that is why I want everybody to get close to their livestock officers to see how they can become a part of it.
Okay, thank you so much. And I just want to point out as well, Ms. Brown, to let all persons know if they have access to information on grants and they don't have the knowledge or the skill in preparing proposals, we here at RADA, you can reach out to us and we'll guide you, we'll assist you as best as we can in developing and writing these proposals that you can tap into to get funding for your enterprise. So I just wanted to point that out. The next question, Ms. Brown, which I know you probably hear a lot, where can persons get animals to purchase, like the goats and the sheep?
When persons are, it depends on what it is that you're trying to do. If you're trying to go into the breeding of animals, because you want to be a breeder, we have specific farmers who we will connect you with, because the problem that we're having is one of record keeping. And really and truly, if you're purchasing high quality animals, that farmer should be able to show you some sort of record to confirm the genetics of the animal that you're getting. But we do have farmers, because we do have some farmers associations that we can link you with to get good quality animals. And this is something that will take a bit more, because especially just quickly, if you're going into goat production, you may not want to say you're going to buy high quality females. You can use females who are not of a high genetic, but what you really want is a good buck, a good strong male with good genetics.
Females, you do have your purpose in all species. We can't leave you out.
Exactly. So we take all females and we get one good buck. And now we have companies that are promoting artificial insemination. So if you can't afford the buck, you may want to look at that as another avenue as well to breed your animals. But there's a lot of scope for small ruminant production, so please get on board.
All right. Two other quick ones, Ms. Brown, before we wrap up. How do persons get access to the record books?
Each officer is supposed to have in their possession copies of the books. And let me tell you, the books are free. And when I say free, it is free to you. It cost us nearly $3,000 just to print one. So you're actually getting a gift. So I would advise everybody who is thinking of going into small ruminant production or is already in production, get access to the book. It also gives you a calculation to let you know how you can do some analysis on your own as well.
Okay, and the final one, access to grass grinder or haymaker. Someone online is asking if you have any information on how they can access such an equipment. Okay, do we have anybody locally who produce those kind of things?
I know Delta Supply also has these grass chopping machines, and I know the president of the Small Ruminant Association, Mr. Trevor Bernard, he also brings in grass cutting machines as well. As a matter of fact, we just purchased 4 from him from the last project. We're hoping and praying that the ministry will give us some more funds. They have promised us, and it is from these funds that we'll be able to get more machines that we can get it in the hands of farmers.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ms. Brown. We truly appreciate your presentation. It was quite enlightening. And though we're colleagues, I still learn from you just the same. And I do appreciate you making the effort to come and enlighten our farmers and our stakeholders this morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So that was an insightful presentation, if I might add. We're now going to move on to our next presenter, who is Mrs. Francine Webb-Lawrence, and she will be speaking to us or presenting to you on plant health and food safety. So I'll now turn over to Mrs. Lawrence. Good morning, Mrs. Lawrence.
Hi, good morning.
How
Good
are
morning,
you?
everyone. I am very well, thank you.
Okay, good to have you.
Yes, I want to, on behalf of the Plant Health and Food Safety Unit, to join in the celebration of our women for the work that we have done and for the impact that we have made in getting to this point, and also in choosing to challenge the status quo. I am delighted this morning to be able to sensitize and to make our females on our platform especially aware of additional services that you can get from RADA through our PlantWise program, providing plant clinic services. So, are you able to see my screen well?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right. So I wanted to start off by saying, are you aware that of our over 220 registered farmers, that 32% of our farmers registered in Jamaica are females? Yes. So it is key to look to see, to now engage our females, to let them know, to increase the awareness that you are also, this service, this plant clinic service is available to you. And I'm going to tell you all about this service. Now, the PlantWise program in Jamaica is what I'm going to talk to you about. And let's start. The partnership for this program in Jamaica is between the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries and CABI, which this partnership was signed in 2014 and was implemented in 2015. Now the program is being implemented by the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries and RADA, and we are ably supported by the Research and Development Division of the Ministry and also the Plant Quarantine and Produce Inspection Branch. Now, this PlantWise program has a national steering committee which provides oversight and coordination in addition to some guidance for this program. Now, what exactly is a PlantWise program? The PlantWise program is led by the Center for Agriculture and Biosciences International, which is CABI. It is an international, intergovernmental, not-for-profit organization, and they are striving to improve people's lives worldwide by providing information and applying scientific expertise to solve problems in agriculture and the environment in particular. Now, PlantWise works to help farmers lose less of what they grow to plant health problems. So losing less to pest and disease issues. And if you're going to lose less to that, it means that you're going to also be contributing to the food security of your country. And it is particularly important because especially within this COVID environment that has caused so many changes, food security is particularly important. And in doing so, we are also improving and in line with or aligning with our mandate here at RADA, improving rural livelihoods. So how does the program work? The program works in enhancing plant health and extension delivery within Jamaica. And it involves a number of key areas. We're looking specifically at the training of plant doctors. And what exactly are these plant doctors? We'll tell you about it. We're establishing plant doctor clinics. And this is the foundation of the PlantWise program. And we're building on our knowledge bank, and we're looking at public awareness, particularly also with respect to our plant health rallies. Now, the PlantWise program in Jamaica, as I mentioned, it starts off with the training of PlantWise plant doctors. Now, these doctors are the ones who run the plant doctor clinics. And within Jamaica, we have a very unique situation. The PlantWise program is present in over 30 countries across the world. And within Jamaica, we have both mobile and fixed clinics. I'll tell you a little more about that. We have the program also looks at prescriptions, and I'll zone in onto electronic prescriptions. And the program is also supported by the Knowledge Bank. There is data management and sharing, and this is quite exciting. Ms. Brown mentioned before about not just collecting information, but using that information to improve what you do. So we'll talk about how that happens here in Jamaica. And we wrap up with public awareness. Now, Plantwise is not here to tell you what to do or tell you how to run your systems within the countries you are. It actually helps in strengthening the existing plant health system of the country. So within Jamaica, we have a number of major players within the plant health system. So we have our farmers who have communication with Extension, and that is two-way communication. Extension now communicates, and that's RADA. Extension communicates with research, research with regulations or the regulators, and with the input suppliers. So these systems already exist within country. The plant clinics help to support the linkages and to increase the collaborative nature so that you end up with a much more wholesome product at the end of the day from your plant health system. So let's look at how that works within Jamaica. Now, the first part we talked about was about the training of plant doctors, Plantwise plant doctors. And within Jamaica and within our region, we are quite unique. Jamaica started off by training a set number of trainers. And from this group, and you can see here, we have equal distribution of males and females. They're well represented here, that also train others within country to be plant doctors. And I'm proud to say that the majority of our extension officers across Jamaica are Plantwise plant doctors. So this service exists in each parish. Now, how do these clinics work? The plant clinics are run by trained plant doctors. Now, and it mimics the public health system. Now, within our COVID environment, you can appreciate that if you're not feeling well, then you visit your nearest clinic, you're assessed, you're given a series of recommendations, and that is usually on a prescription form, which you take to the pharmacy. Now, plant clinics operate in a similar fashion. So you have a plant that is having a plant health problem, you take it to a plant clinic, it is assessed by a plant doctor, and you are given a series of, a diagnosis is made, you're given a series of recommendations to improve the situation, and you leave with a prescription as to what you do. So that whole process of the recommendations is documented for you to take from the clinic. And I think this is one of the very important features, because this service was largely, this is not a particularly new service to Jamaica based on our extension system and how we work. However, the documentation of the process, the generation of the data is something that Plantwise has now supported Jamaica with, and we can do a wealth of things with mining that data that is being generated from these plant clinics. And I'll talk a little more about that. So the farmers visit the plant clinic. The plant doctor will consult the knowledge bank. He will make a diagnosis based on the sample that is brought or on the information that the interaction with the farmer will give him. And he provides some management advice. Now, within Jamaica, because of how our extension system operates, a farmer who is having a challenge, let's say we're focusing on our females today, a female farmer having a challenge with her plant will not necessarily have to wait on a particular date in order to see a Plantwise plant doctor based on how we operate and interact with our farmers. So within Jamaica, we operate two types of plant clinics. A fixed system where we have a time and date and place where we say that we will operate the clinic between certain hours. Farmers can visit that central location, bring your samples, and you have them assessed and recommendations given. Now, our extension officers, who are now trained plant doctors, because of the interaction, the day-to-day interaction with the farmers, they are better able to provide this service to the farmers on their day-to-day operations. So we call that the mobile clinics. So the extension officer will visit in an area, there's a plant health issue, and he will now operate the mobile plant clinic to address that problem. Now, all of that information is then uploaded onto the plantwi online management system. And this system, all that data that comes in, provided good data, you are able now to assess what is happening and to improve the service. And you're also able to make predictions. So is it that within a particular area, that at a particular period of time, that this problem is occurring? So if we know that, we can put in interventions in order to reduce the impact of that particular plant health problem based on the timing or based on the crops that are being produced, and all of that information you get from the data that is being generated from these clinics. And this type of data is able to translate into intervention on the ground, also at the level of RADA where we operate, and even at the ministerial level. It can help to inform policy. So there's quite a bit that you can get from what we are now able to generate from these clinics that are being operated across the island. So what exactly does the prescription look like? The prescription form collects quite some information. It collects information about the farmer, his name, where he lives, his phone number, how he can be contacted, what crops he grows, what practices he has, when did he notice it, what's the size of his field. And when we started off in 2015, we started off with hard copy prescription forms. So you can imagine that would take quite a bit of time, not just in filling out that information, but in also getting that information onto the plantwi online management system. But since then, we have upgraded, we have moved into an e-prescription. So there's an electronic prescription form that the same information is now able to be captured on a mobile device or on a computer. And that information can quickly now be sent, uploaded into the online management system. So the farmer, the plant doctor interacts with the farmer, he inputs the data, he makes his diagnosis as to what the problem is, he makes a recommendation, and the recommendations are now sent to the farmer via a text message. Now, if the farmer would prefer a hard copy of the recommendations, he's also able to get that from a much shortened version of the prescription. And then this prescription is then, information is uploaded into the plantwi online management system, where we can do far more with the information that is being generated. I mentioned about the knowledge bank, and I will drop this link into the chat as well, so you can also interact with it because this is open access. It has information on plant health, and the services that you can get include diagnostic information. You can get information regarding management advice based on where you are located and the likely pests that you will encounter. You can get information that are customized alerts on pest news from the knowledge bank. So it's quite interactive and quite a bit of information that is available here. And like I said, it's open access. You just go to the site to get all that information. This is a plantwi knowledge bank. And the farmers and the plant doctors are also able to access this information when assessing a sample so that they can provide information that is relevant, that is important, and that is practical for the farmer to know, implement in order to manage this plant health challenge he's having. Now, also available on the knowledge bank is references that you can have, such as a pest management diagnostic guide. There are fact sheets that you can also utilize, and there are also other diagnostic tools that you can utilize. And you can see how this information can provide a useful resource for plant doctors who are in the field as well. So he has that information. The plant doctor will have this information at his fingertips as well in assessing the sample. Now, the pest management decision guide, there are a number of them that are available on the knowledge bank, and they are simply giving you information as to how you can prevent the issue, how you can monitor the pest problem within your field, how you can control it outside of the use of chemicals, and also if you need to use chemicals, how you can safely do that in a sustainable manner in order to manage your pest management, your pest problem. So this is one such example that is here. So quite a bit of information, and it's quite specific, so you can follow step by step as the things you can do in order to prevent, to monitor, and to control this challenge you are having. Now, data management and sharing, I find this quite exciting because it provides so much for us, because now we're able to look at the information that is being generated from the clinics and to see how it is that we can improve the service based on what we're doing, and also what we can do in order to predict and to prevent and to prepare, better prepare for the likelihood that we may encounter this challenge again. And to look at the trends that are there across the island. Is it that at a particular time when this crop is being planted right across certain locations that you are likely to encounter certain issues, then we can better prepare and put in intervention measures for those challenges. So the PlantWise online management system provides data management support, all this information from the clinics. So it allows our partners and coordinators to store and to manage this information. So information from the clinic, from the people and the organizations associated with PlantWise. You have in-country training. There's content that can also be uploaded into the knowledge bank, and it provides the analysis of this clinic data. Now, you can imagine that if you're generating this type of data, it is going to now require some amount of management. So we also have, as a component of the PlantWise program, local data managers who are there to helping uploading, harmonizing the information, managing these terms. So you may enter information, the plant doctor may enter information, and because he used pumpkins instead of pumpkin, or you may call, you may have a crop being represented twice, the same type of crop within the system. The data manager is now able to go in and harmonize this data, and so it's better able to be analyzed, and you can get better inferences and see trends and see where intervention needs to be made from this data that is uploaded onto the pumps as well. Now, another component of the PlantWise program in Jamaica is public awareness. Now, if we have this program, and this program is institutionalized within RADA, this is how we operate with respect to plant health issues in Jamaica. Now, we want this to be known to our clients. So it's a good opportunity for us today to engage, especially our female farmers today, in knowing about this service. So if you haven't been engaged so far, I recommend, strongly recommend that you ask your extension officer about this program. You want to participate, you want to engage the clinic within your areas, speak to your extension officer, okay? So public awareness, we want to engage the public to let them know that this service exists. And so we do quite a bit of publications, we do presentations, we are present at a number, well, expositions. We haven't had that in a long time due to COVID, but this is one such opportunity now that we are engaging the public again in public awareness to make you, to sensitize you as to the program, that it exists, and you can benefit from the services that are entailed. Now, the last component I'm going to talk about today is the Plant Health Rally. The Plant Health Rally, now you know that RADA does quite a bit of training. The PlantWise program has introduced to us another way of transferring this technology using the Plant Health Rally approach. So we have a high intensity training. So, and this is when we were able to gather in numbers, mind you. So we talk about farmers coming together. We are able to break them up in smaller groups, and we divide the topics that we want to engage the farmers on. And these different topics are being conducted simultaneously. So we'll divide a group that is available in 4, for example. And there are 4 different modules being conducted at once. So we have smaller groups, we have a larger team that is able to now engage a smaller group in a more intimate fashion. There is demonstration, there is repeat demonstration, there is greater interaction and better understanding of the different principles and the different processes that are involved in identifying, looking out, monitoring, and also implementing the recommendations that are given under the program. So this is one such approach that is also available under the Plant Doctor program. So in summary, we said the PlantWise program in Jamaica looks at the first stage is training of the plant doctors, and within Jamaica, we have our own system. So instead of CABIC having to come here to train each different cohort, we're able to do that within country. So our plant doctors are the ones who run the plant doctor clinics, which is a foundation of the PlantWise program. We are operating largely with an electronic prescription process. We have the knowledge bank, which provides quite a bit of support. And this knowledge bank, as I mentioned before, is open access. So everyone is able to access the knowledge bank. We have data management and sharing. And like I said, we are now exploring the many possibilities within the data management and sharing component of the PlantWise program, having now generated quite a bit of years worth of data so that we can look to see how we have been performing, what we can do in order to improve the service that we provide, and how this can now help to inform policy and to operate, and how we can better operate and reach our clients based on the information that we have available. And our last component is public awareness, which I mentioned before, to sensitize and to let our clients know that the service exists, and also to engage them as well within the Plant Health Rally approach to technology transfer. So this in a nutshell is what our PlantWise program is about, which is largely about our plant doctor clinic. So thank you all for your attention, and I'm open to any questions just now.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Lawrence. That was quite informative. I'm very sure many of our participants weren't even aware that we facilitate and provide these kinds of services. It's very important in terms of the health of the plants. As Mrs. Lawrence mentioned, if you want to increase your profits and ensure that you make money from whatever agricultural activity you engage in, it's very important for you to ensure that the pest and disease management you're on top of your game. And in essence, this is what the PlantWise program is about, reducing the loss that would be caused by plant pests and diseases. Thank you so much, Mrs. Lawrence. Some quite useful information there. There are some questions that we're going to take from the chat, Mrs. Lawrence. The first two, someone wanted to find out if the clinics are available only to small to medium farmers, or it is made available to backyard farmers as well, backyard gardening farmers. That's the first part. The second part, another person wanted to find out if commodity crops such as coconut, if we provide that kind of service in our plant-wise program. So if you could address those two, please.
Those are good questions. We know that backyard farmers are quite an important part of our clientele. So if there is a need, then the plant clinic can also help in assisting with the many different challenges, because at the Plant Health and Food Safety Unit, we get quite a number of calls from backyard farmers. So the clinic would also play a role in assisting backyard farmers as well. So it is open to everyone.
Okay.
Now, with respect to coconuts, now remember the PlantWise program is here to help to support the existing plant health system within country. So what we would do is, based on the predominant crops in a particular area, then we would partner with, say, for instance, a coconut board, if you're going into an area that is predominantly coconuts, so that you're better able to cater to the likely issues that will come up in a particular area. And that is what the information that is generated from the clinic will also help to inform you as well as to what the likely issues are, so you are better able to service the clients in a particular area. So we would do partnerships with, say, the coconut industry board as well. So we have a number of cases when we have partnered with research and development, with plant quarantine, and so we would invite somebody from coconut industry board to also be a part of the clinic if coconut is going to be a major crop in a particular area, yes.
Okay.
And a number of persons from the commodity boards have also have trained plant doctors as well. So like I said before, it's strengthening of the plant health system within country. So it allows for quite a bit of collaboration so that you get a more wholesome product for our clients.
All right, we have some commendations for you as well, Mrs. Lawrence. The Mount Salus group wants to say thank you. I don't know if you're familiar with that group, but they want to say thank you, and to, in Jamaican terms, big up yourself.
Good, good.
That's right. I'm sure there are other groups online. And as Mrs. Lawrence mentioned, friends and participants, feel free to reach out to your extension officer. If you want us to come and deliver a plant clinic for you in your area, and you want specific information regarding plant health, we are always ready and willing to come and provide you with that information. So reach out to the parish office, the RADA parish office that is closest to you or within your area of farming activity. Or if, better yet, if you have a contact number for your extension officer, you can always reach out to them. Remember, it's a partnership. Without you, there's no RADA, and partnerships usually go both ways. Communication goes both ways. If you don't hear from us, you reach out to us. And likewise, we'll always reach out to you. So thank you once again, Mrs. Lawrence. Beautiful presentation.
Thank you.
Okay. At this time, we're going to move on to our last presenter, Miss Brenda Green, who will be presenting to you some insightful information on RADA's Home Economics and Social Services unit, and what are some of the areas that you can benefit from that this unit offers. So let me hand over to Miss Green. You're going to present from your laptop? Okay. We should have
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. As you have been told, I'm Brenda Green, and I'm a senior social service officer. Sorry about that. Senior social service officer, and I work in the Eastern Zone. Before I actually go into my presentation, I will tell you about the home economics program. Now, RADA social service through home economics program, we actually work with individuals so that we can utilize what we grow. In times of when you have glut, say like now that we have tomato issues, we reach out to persons and we teach them how to get the maximum yield from how to utilize what they like the tomatoes. For instance, instead of having a slice of tomato continuously, you may teach them how to make a jam, you may teach them how to make a tomato cake, and so forth. So that information they use to generate income, they also use that information to better their family life. Now, when we work with these ladies, what this presentation that I have here, what I will be focusing on is actually some of the success stories about persons who are involved in the RADA program. And not just the home economics program, but at some point, I actually veer off and we will actually be talking about agriculture in itself, because I am actually featuring women in agriculture. So you will find out as we go along that the agriculture is quite a wide area. I usually tell persons that when you go to bed at night, apart from thinking about the good Lord, one of the main things that comes to mind is agriculture. And when you wake up, that's the first thing, because you go to bed on your sheet, and if it's something that is made from natural fibers, it's agriculture. Your bed is made from wood, it relates to agriculture. And you wake up in the morning, and the first thing you're going to clean your teeth and you're going to eat your breakfast, agriculture. So it's something that is, it's constant. It's around you all the time. You live and you breathe agriculture. So we're going to talk about some of the success stories and how RADA as an entity help persons to achieve their success. Now the definition that we have here will actually tell you how wide agriculture is. Agriculture is the art and science of cultivating soil, growing crops, and raising livestock. So right there, it's a whole lot in a nutshell. You have crops, you have animals, you have the actual science involved in it, the research, and all of that. It includes the preparation of plants and animal products for people to use and their distribution in the market. Right there, that one definition, that one sentence there, that's automatically where home economics would drop, because you're going to be doing agro-processing, you're actually going to be marketing your goods. Agriculture provides most of the world's food and fabric. Cotton, wool, and leather are all agricultural products. Agriculture also provides wood for construction and paper products. See, you sleep agriculture, you live agriculture. If you're wearing a jeans pants, that is made from cotton. You have your cotton plant, agriculture comes from that. You're writing on a piece of paper, wood, agriculture. So therefore you live it. If time is cold, you're wearing a sweater, you have your wool there, it comes from the sheep. You live it, you breathe it. Agriculture is everything. So every corner that you look, you can't escape it. You hear some person saying things about agriculture. Trust me, the reason why they're saying some of those things is actually because they have not really sat down and looked into what agriculture is. Because agriculture is actually life. The next, that picture there actually shows you ladies in the field. Seeing that I'm featuring ladies, we're talking about ladies in the field, and you'll see some of the ventures that they go into, that they're into. Now, in terms of farmers, in terms of farming, the next slide. Based on data, 32% of persons are farmers. 30% of females are farmers. No. Let us sit down and talk about this. 32% are farmers. No, that is just a little piece of agriculture. Therefore, all those persons who are involved in agro-processing, if they're involved in the scientific part of it, the females, can you imagine when all of that figure actually goes to that 32%, because that 32% actually speaks to one aspect of agriculture. So you can see the wide area that the females are into. And it is important to note that this figure is increasing has been increasing over a period of time. Problems. We're talking about females, and there are some issues that females go through as when they actually go into a job that is usually seen as male orientated. One of the things is lack of benefit. I spoke to someone the other day, and because I asked around some questions. I spoke with persons, farmers and so forth, and one lady was pleased to tell me, one of many told me that the benefits are limited because if they are giving things to farmers, the ladies, it's not usually a 50-50 situation. The ladies are usually the smaller percentage. When they get the benefit that is given is usually a smaller percentage. In terms of access to land, this is also an issue. For one of the reasons being, some of these things is coming from a historical background where male is a male-dominated world. It is seen where fathers, when you know about dead left land, all of those things were given to males. So therefore, your sister get a little piece to build a little house over there, so, but the bulk of the land in terms of the papers and everything goes to the male. And to some extent, that thing still happens. So there are issues when it comes to access to land. Financing. This is also a problem. This is also a problem. There are times when you have a single parent family and you have one person running the family, you have issues because there's not enough funds to go around. Now, I'm going to go back to a situation where I had on Monday. When I say single parent, I don't want anybody to really say, come take me to task saying that this is not always the case. It's not always the case, but it does come up. I'm going to highlight something that happened to me on Monday. When I reached on Monday evening, I got a call. I was wondering where this call is coming from because the lady was actually in Trinidad. She called me, said that she was given my number. She got a grant from a funding agency here. She bought a piece of she's supposed to get $250,000 for a piece of machinery. However, the machinery cost was $300,000, but she did not have the remaining funds to put forward. So therefore, she could not get the grant that she was being given. Now, when you look at that, in this hard time, you're saying that it's, boy, for somebody to lose $250,000 now, it's really a tough thing. When we sat down and we decided to brainstorm to find out how we could deal with the issue, we got the funding agency online, and the funding agency, she got the money from December. However, before she can get that $250,000, she has to say, she has to bring forward that extra $100,000, or else she would not be able to get that. The poor little lady couldn't turn old people that she can't turn duck off a nest. She could not go back, she could not go front. What she started to cry about was the fact that she could not afford to do that because she has a son and she's the only parent. The son knows the issue, was having problems, but therefore she has to bring forth her funds to share between the two situations. That is what I'm talking about, is one of the components when it comes to financing. Where you have a mother being in charge of the family and the fund has to go all around the air, all around, you have issues. So hence financing, that is one component. Now, lack of manpower. Lack of manpower simply means, what I'm saying here is, there are situations where a man can lift a rock. But they say where men have muscles, ladies have fat. So therefore, the strength is not evenly distributed. So therefore, in terms of manpower to manage, say, a farm, problems usually encountered. So she usually has to pay somebody to do the work. And there are also times that a little thing that happens here is that some men actually feel that the lady doesn't know what she is doing because it's a man's world. So this you have lack of power here, lack of manpower here. In terms of tradition, favors male. That is what I refer to in the initial stage, where there are times when parents actually favors male to do certain things. So they actually give the land. When it comes to particular things, you're selling things, selling your raw material, your goods, favor is given for the male. So certain things are not gotten. You have benefits being falling in here, benefits is limited, and land and so forth is limited. All the resources, some of the resources that you need to actually succeed. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to be identifying some of the issues, some more issues that the female actually goes through. That lady there on the screen, she's actually from a place in St. Andrew called Top Mountain. I don't want you to look at the fact that how she bend over and so forth. She's tending to her scallion. But the important thing is just look at the slope of the land. And she's out there in the struggles. And that's hillside farming. She has to work what she has. And what she have is the hillside. So she have to go there and she do terracing her things to ensure that you don't have soil erosion. And her extension officers work with her so that she can get a good yield. But trust me, it is a struggle. If you know about that area now, you realize that some time ago there was a heavy rain and a lot of persons in that area is actually having problems because of soil erosion. So that is Miss Darky from Top Mountain. And that is, you're seeing some of the issues that she has to deal with, the struggles out there. All right, and that lady, she reaps actually 100 pounds of scallion every week for market. She sells in Carnation and she sells to supermarkets. So therefore, sometimes it's rough, but when you look at what is to be earned at the end of the day, you go forward. Because I'm sure when she come down off that hill tired, she go sit down in her house, so she drink her tea and she feel good because children and everybody maintenance is going on. Lisa Fed. No, I love this farmer. Anybody who go, if you come to the St. Andrew Farmers Market, you may see her out there. She has a lovely spread. That's her farm. She reaps her produce from her farm. She is not well, I don't want anybody to feel offended, but she's not a higgler per se. She reaps and she sells. No, she has been doing that for 16 years. And Miss Fender is growing. Miss Fender came to me some time ago. You will see a pack of coffee there because she also plants coffee. She also grows coffee. She's also into her own production of the coffee right now. So that is another area where she's stepping into. Because she told, when she was giving me her little story, she said there was a issue with coffee prices and a group of them was actually demonstrating in Mavis Bank. And in the demonstration, somebody came to her and told her that, why you don't do your own thing? And she and the group of farmers came together and they formed the Hillside Coffee Growers. No, it wasn't an easy road at all, because the cost to produce the coffee, the cost to register with different entities was very high. No, she worked with RADA, because I remember when she came to us, she worked with RADA and we did a business training with her and some of her group members, because as you heard from the earlier presenter, bookkeeping is of utmost importance. It is not something that you can leave on the side. If you're not keeping your books, you won't know if you're winning or you're losing. It has to be done. It may be tiring, it may be taxing, but it has to be done. Now, when Miss Fender came to us with the group, it's a group of them that came and we went through the business plan and different entity. The home economics department, we didn't work by ourselves, because you work as a unit with all the extension officers. So the extension officers serve her, and plus the business, the marketing officer was also a part of these training. So you're teaching how to market your goods, as well as how to do your keep your books. So it's not just one person work. It's like everybody coming together to complete the task. So sometimes persons think that RADA is a one-stop shop. But trust me, depending on what you want, it really can be a one-stop shop. You come here, you have the person teaching you bookkeeping, you have the person teaching you how to reap your products so that you get the maximum yield. You have the home economic department giving you ideas on how you can utilize the coffee and get it out there. I remember a gentleman came to me about the same coffee, and Miss Fender was also there, where we were doing other products, say like coffee liqueur, coffee rum cream. We had a coffee refresher that goes well. But seeing that, like for instance, like now when you have COVID issues and things may not sell as fast as you used to, sometimes you have to divert into other areas. So therefore, you come to RADA, you get all of those, and we are quite willing to work. And Ms. Fender has been doing quite well, and she's just hoping to go from strength to strength. The coffee there, I think that coffee is not a year old. It's very young in terms of getting her business on the road. So she is up and coming. She's trying her thing with the group, and trust me, I don't doubt that little later you will see Miss, as soon as COVID done, you will see Miss Fender coffee in the hotels, in the supermarkets, and all around. And she is just one of the person in the hills that are actually moving in that department, going into areas where they can actually produce their own coffee. So you don't just sell coffee beans, but you can actually sell your coffee. Now, the next person, who next? Yes, Miss Jennifer Jones. Miss Jennifer Jones is from Portland. She makes soaps and other cosmetics. She also does coconut oil. Miss Jennifer Jones. Hello? She's supposed to come in. Yeah, she's online. She was a legal secretary. She used to used to work in the legal department. She actually manned a legal office. She left that, and she actually went into doing something that she had as a hobby, but she decided to take up full time. So this is Miss Jones, Miss Jennifer Jones from Portland. Miss Jones, you can come online now. Hello, Jennifer?
Yes, I'm online. Okay.
We would like you to tell us about some of your trials, when you started, some of the challenges, how you overcome them, and where you are now.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Yes, as Ms. Green said, my name is Jennifer Jones. I'm from Portland. I'm an agro-processor. I started out in 2013 manufacturing natural products because there is a high demand for natural products. But even before I started selling, the products that I was making was used to improve the health and wellness of my family. Then in 2013, I decided to do a transition for financial reasons to make this hobby of mine a full-time business. I didn't have any background in agro-processing. I grew up on a farm. My dad is a farmer, so I have a close connection to nature. And I grew in my early years just being connected and loving nature and understanding that whatever we need for health and wellness, you can get it from the nature. The Creator provides that. We just have to know what plant, what herb to use to improve our health. So that's my connection to agriculture. My business, I do a different variety of things. I do the coconut oil, as Ms. Green said. I process coconut oil. I do extra virgin coconut oil using a fermentation method. And to make it marketable. So what I'm selling is not what everybody else is selling, because that's one of the things. But when I just started, as I said, I didn't have any background in agro-processes. It was the OMEC unit at the Port Antonio RADA office that I went with that one product to find out how can I make it into a business. And from that's how I started. My training, my first connection to training in agro-processing was the RADA officer, the RADA OMIC officer in Portland. And they talked to me about labeling and all of that. So not from that background, I had to pull on all that experience and resources that's out there, because one, I didn't have the money to afford formal training either. So I pull on RADA, I pull on Jamaica Business Development Corporation, I pull on the Scientific Research Council, and the Bureau of Standard, the Jamaica Manufacturer, and all of these training were free, because as I said, the funds weren't there. Also, for money to start the business, didn't have no capital. So family, loan and gifts. And I searched for different competition that's out there to get the resources, because I started in my kitchen. I need equipment, I need packaging, I need raw material, and I have a family of 3. So I had to pull on these resources. My break came in through the National Housing Trust had a competition where they were looking for entrepreneurs in communities that have their scheme that to help them develop their businesses. So I entered that competition, and even to write the business plan. It was Miss Brian from RADA who sat with me and helped me to write the application and fill it out in the form of a business plan. So I learned how to write the business plan right there as well. Didn't cost me anything, and they were willing and to help. So that funding gave me the access to the fund, that the winning that competition helped me, give me the money to build a production facility at my home, because I'm home-based. So I could move the processing from my kitchen into a place where I could get the public health department to come and certify the facility, so I could grow the production. What also helped too is the marketing, because if you have a product and you can't sell it, then it go and sit on you. The whole issue of doing a business is to be able to sell so you can have an income, right? So I got the marketing aspect of it through different expos, RADA expos, the farmers, they opened the Dembe Coconut Industry Board. And what I want to interject here is to let people who want to start a business, not because you don't see the resources, that don't mean the resources is out there. You have to look for the resources. And they are available through, I know, RADA, the JAS office, Jamaica Agricultural Society, Jamaica Business Development Corporation, and all these entities are there to help. And that's where I got my help from. And at the same time, when you link with different partners, your product is exposed. And as long as you have a good product, it will sell, right? So that is where my business, the growth comes in. Also, I am a farmer. I operate a community greenhouse, and the greenhouse space is used to grow organic, natural grown products. I can't say organic because it's not certified organic, but we grow them organically, naturally. And the produce are sold to the community members, because we find that it's not everybody can afford to eat certain things. So when we can grow broccoli and sell broccoli to the community for $400 a pound in the market, they're going and they're buying it for $1,000. They can't afford certain things. So it serves the community, and the funds from the community, from those sales, go back into the community with our environmental club to help those people in the community who can't help themselves, and to maintain our community space. I am over that project as well. So in addition to the business, I do community service. Funds, it is, as I said, it's challenging. Some of the challenges is funding, but there are ways out there. You have to be very innovative and go out and seek it. It's important to have a bank account, because when I started and I went to the bank, they weren't willing to lend, because they don't want to lend anybody money where they feel like you don't know how to pay it back, and you don't have a track record. So when you open the account, you might say you don't want to put the money in the bank because you don't have a lot. But no matter how small it is, you put the money in the bank, because when the bank see you managing that account and the money from the business going in there, no matter how small, and over a period of time, they see that you are maintaining that account in a business way, they will easily help you. I open an account with NCB. Now I have a cash machine where I can pay when people come to my facility, or when I go to expos, they can I can use a card. I get a credit arrangement with them, so I can buy raw material and all of that. Also, the Ministry of Labor have little grant funding where you can get to buy raw material or buy your tools or whatever you need if you are in farming. You just have to go out and find those resources. So it has not been easy, but as I said, you have to find a way, because there's always a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. And I said, as a marketing, the Agri-Mart, RADA Agri-Mart and the expos help, social media, and also good customers. When you have a good relationship with your customers, those customers tell other people about it, and you won't lose those customers if you treat those customers good and you maintain the quality of your product. So my challenge right now where I'm at, I've seen growth every single year, and not because I started growing, I've not left out RADA and the other places, because you have to keep learning. And there are the areas where I can always be able to get the resources.
Yes. Thank you so very much. Man, you didn't want you this morning, you said you didn't have, you were afraid, but man, you're good, man. You did very well. Thank you so very much. I will call you.
All right.
Miss Jones was just one feature. Now, there's this little lady now. I'll be finishing in a couple of minutes. That I have to talk about, because what I did was I actually went into investigating persons who are actually doing well. I spoke to this lady, Miss Marcia Clark from Manchester. Oh Lord, man! Even if I was down when I started to speak with her, when she gave me the first word, she was so nice. She has a lovely vibes. Everything just kept flowing. Miss Clark, she's a livestock. She does livestock. She says livestock is on the side. That is not the real business. However, she has 37 heads of cattle, and she supplies juicy beef with her cow, with her meat. She says this is her means for her children. This is what she used to keep her children going. She said she went through a lot of issues, but this is what she used to send her children to school. And when I asked her about her achievement, she got a number of prizes at Denby for being a farmer. First and second place and third place. She was the first female to get the Farmer of the Year award at Denby. But what I found really amazing when I asked her for her achievement, you know what she told me her achievement was? Her achievement was with 2 children that graduate from college, and she have one going to university. That was her achievement. She also went on to that she mentors young people in Manchester that are actually interested in farming. So therefore, there's a lot of hurdle to go through, and she speaks about God. So therefore, there's a lot of hurdle to go through, but with the good Lord right around you, covering you and doing your thing and pushing you forward, you can get through. Now, soon finished. There are 2 persons that I have to talk about. There's next person because, bees, Carol Biffett. She is a beekeeper. She is from St. Thomas. She went into this business because she was unemployed. So she actually saw this as a means of generating income. And now she's saying that the struggles may be rough, but the rewards are great. She doesn't deal with honey alone. She also deals with honey, with wax and pollen. So she provides 3 different products. Now, what I'm going to deal with next is where I'm closing off. I have 2 persons where I'm closing off. The agriculture sector has different components. However, there are persons at different levels. There are persons that impart knowledge so that the other persons can move ahead. So right here, who we have here is Miss Beverly Darby Collins. She is the manager for the Home Economics Department of RADA. She has been around from, oh Lord, Miss Collins may vex and Miss Cesar, but she has been around from donkey years. She went to CASE. She's a graduate of CASE, and she went to UTEC. It is important to note that as the officer, the work is not just a matter of giving people recipes and telling them how to use things, but you go to different functions and you lobby for ladies. There's one instance where she went she was a part of a committee that actually dealt with problems being encountered by women who are entrepreneurs. Those things are done. She lobbied for persons, and the position you come up with idea. You have to sit down, and you actually have to. Your kitchen becomes a lab, because you are doing experiments to come up with correct recipes, and you have to make sure that the correct proportion of ingredients is in it, because you don't want to bake a cake, and when you bake a cake, it's green and it's bitter because it's having too much baking soda, or it is too tough because you put too much of one thing in it. So your kitchen becomes a lab. So that is all a part of the work. In 2019, she got an award from JS. She's one of 20 persons who got an award for being a phenomenal woman in the agricultural field. Now, this other lady, the last of the presentation, I have to speak about her. She is also from another side of the fence. This is Dr. Mitchell. Now, I met Dr. Mitchell years ago, and she really touched a place in my heart. She's not a Jamaican. She's from Ghana, but she has been in Jamaica since she was 7. She's married to a Jamaican, and she has worked in the pisciculture business for over 20 years. She used to work, at one point she was working at SRC. She's on the board of CASE, and she also does some work with UTEC. Right now she's a senior lecturer over by University of the West Indies, and her work is in pisciculture. So this is an area where she works on pisciculture, and she's also working on medicinal plants. So you can see that agriculture is not just say you're going to go there, go dig up the ground. And she has been doing very well. She has done a number of publications, and she has received a number of awards in her field. Some years ago, we were doing some work with the bamboo. She was right there with it. She has been working, she worked with some mini-set yams years ago. And she has tutored persons who are doing their master's as well as their doctorate. So therefore, that is more than one area. Now, these are some very strong women in agriculture, as I have told you. Now, rather, if you are there and you need to go forward, you have the Home Economics Department here. We work with ladies. And I don't want the men to feel left out, but if you come along, I will work with you too. We'll work with you in terms of how to make a living. And if you feel that you're okay, we'll work with you in terms of generating proper meals in the home, how to utilize what you have, so therefore your family will get nutritious and balanced meal, especially now in this period where nutrition comes first. So I must say, I take my hat. Right here, we have some worthy mentions. You have the young farmer, back up please. You have a young farmer right there. This young miss was, she used to work at ATL, and she left it and went into her family farm. Her thing is made greenhouse, and she got an award. And I'm sure what she's reaping now is more than she would have done at ATL where she's working, although she had an executive position. She left there and she went into her family farm. The next person on the top there She is the president. There are some words there that she's talking about. She's the president of the Rural Women Association. She speaks, she addresses issues in COVID, she addresses problems that persons have, and is giving advice to push the farmers on, to push the ladies on. Women, we are strong and we persevere. So I am going to ask you to keep it up, because our role is cemented. Once we used to be seen as the icing on the cake, we are no longer the icing on the cake, we are the entire cake, icing and all. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Green. That was a wonderful presentation. And I am very happy to know that there are a lot of success stories out there as it relates to our women. And we are very appreciative of the fact that we could have one of those success stories be shared today with our participants. And you know, from this presentation, there are a few takeaways that I hope persons would have made note of. And for me, the first one is there will be several challenges. And just like the males, there are challenges that affect females, but there are some that don't affect the males at all. But the key thing here is to try and find ways to overcome these challenges. The next takeaway that I would say came from this presentation is partnership. No man is an island, no man stands alone. We can't do this on our own. And that is why you have entities like RADA who are here, who are willing to assist you in whatever way we can, to ensure that whatever business in agriculture, it will be one that's sustainable, meaningful, and viable to you. The next key takeaway from this presentation would be diversification. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, ladies. Agriculture is one of the widest disciplines that you can think of. There are so many different areas that you can tap into. Ms. Green spoke about women that are involved in honey production. Not just the honey, but they talk about the wax and the pollen. We looked at ladies who are directly involved in farming activities, vegetable production. We spoke about ladies who are involved in agri-processing and value added. And there are so many other areas. Do not limit yourself. If you need assistance, we are here to assist you in whatever way we can. I can't overemphasize also the approach that RADA has been taking over the last couple of years as it relates to farming as a business. Very important. Record keeping, ensuring that you identify markets before you actually start to scale up and ensure that you maximize on the opportunities out there. All these things are some key takeaways from this presentation. And if we're going to talk about scaling up, look at those three women. Not to single them out, but Ms. Fender, Ms. Jones, Ms. Clark, who would have thought these women can be so successful in areas that males are known to be dominant in, and in areas that most women would shy away from. So I just want to pause to say, ladies, the opportunities are endless. Do not limit yourself. And this is why we are having these forums and these sessions to enlighten you, to empower you so that you can become a greater version of yourself and be successful. So once again, thank you so much, Ms. Green. Well done, beautiful presentation. We're going to the chat to see if there are any questions. Okay. We're going to the chat to see if there are any questions, but in the meantime, we're going to launch a poll, which will require of you to answer 3 questions. We want your feedback. And just so you know, RADA is on the path of becoming ISO 9001 certified, and that is specific toward customer service and improvement in terms of quality delivery. So we want your feedback. We welcome your feedback. So any comments that you can give us that will allow us to improve our service delivery or provide a greater service to you, that will be very beneficial to us. So it's 3 questions. The first one, did you find the sessions useful? The second one, which sessions did you participate in? So just indicate if you have been with us since Monday, where we spoke about mushroom, turmeric, and the castor oil, or you came on yesterday, day 2, where we spoke about the tower farming and aquaponics, or you were just here for today's session, where we're highlighting some of our key services that women can benefit from as we continue to look and celebrate the International Women's Day following Monday's activity, and also Women's History Month, which is celebrated in March. So please see how best you can complete those 3 questions so we can document and record your feedback. So we'll go to the chat in the meantime. There's 1 minute and 20. We'll give you about a minute or so to complete this, and then we'll close off. Going to the chat, Ms. Jennifer Jones, commendations. Thank you for hosting this forum. It was very informative. Thanks, Mrs. Green, for the invitation, and thanks to all the participants. And she hopes she was an inspiration. I think I'm inspired, Ms. Jones, so I know that the other participants are inspired just the same. Another person saying very useful and informative webinar. All right, there was someone who was asking about tomato cake. Do we have any recipe regarding that, Ms. Green, in terms of how to utilize the tomato, whether it be for a cake or anything? You just have to make contact. We may have recipes. Okay, we have a wide array of recipes. We have what you would call a library of recipes that we have developed over the years through various testing and proving through the home economics unit. So feel free to reach out to us, contact us if there is any crop or any recipe that you would want us to provide you with information on. If there are any additional questions, now is the time for us to ask Ms. Green. I have also 8-slide presentation just to highlight and summarize things for you, and then we'll just wrap up. Okay. All right, so we'll just move on. I'm going to share my screen. Please let me know when you have begun to see my screen. Everyone see my screen? There, okay. Slideshow, where are you? I'm not able. Which of the it's not allowing me to go there. So just a minute, colleague. I'm not able to. It's off. Whose mic is on? All right. Okay. All right, so in a nutshell, we don't want to take it for granted that all of you are aware of RADA and all of our operations. So I'm just going to give you an overview of our operation. So RADA is a statutory body under the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries. We were established in 1990 under the under an act of parliament, which replaced the Land Authority Act. We are the chief agricultural extension and rural development agency in RADA. And if you calculate 1990 to now, you would realize that we're in our 30th year. Can you believe it? RADA has been in existence for 30 years. And for 30 years, we have been providing services to you, our farmers and stakeholders, and we'll continue to do that. So our theme for this, our 30th year, is refocus, redefine, and a more realigned RADA. So I just wanted to point that out. Our vision statement, we strive to become the leader in the drive towards achieving national economic growth and stability in the agricultural sector. And we're committed to promoting the development of agriculture in Jamaica. Some of our areas that are related to our mandate, we seek to enhance the development of farming through an effective, efficient, and sustainable extension service. Likewise, supplement information to rural development agencies, thereby assisting to advance improvements in rural infrastructure. So today we had presentations from our plant health and food safety unit, our livestock unit, and our home economic and social service unit. However, there are some other areas that RADA offers services in, which I am highlighting now if you look at the screen. So we have expertise in the areas of agronomy, land management, livestock production, as mentioned before, social services, home economics, training, technology and technical information, project management, production and marketing, on-farm irrigation, and plant health and food safety. So for those of us who were not aware of some of our other areas of function, that slide would provide you with that information. So my other colleagues would have pointed this out to you earlier, but I just wanted to re-emphasize it, that we currently have 227,000 farmers registered on our database. And of that amount, 68% are males and 32% are females. So you would now appreciate why we want to see how best we attract more women to the sector so that they too can contribute and benefit in a meaningful way. These are some of the channels in terms of how we conduct or carry out our extension services. We facilitate such through demonstration plots, field visits, lecture and discussions, meetings, shows and expos, and through the use of mass media and ICT. All right, and this last slide is enlightening you on what our strategic direction has been for the last couple of years and some of the areas that we are focused on. The first one being enhancing agricultural service delivery through a responsive and modern agricultural extension service. And today's exercise would be an example where we're utilizing the online platform to engage you, our stakeholders. 2, improvement in production and productivity of our crops and livestock. And 3, targeting of new entrants to the agricultural sector. And lastly, strengthening of strategic alliances with our local and international stakeholders. So In essence, RADA will continue its efforts to provide technical support to you all farmers with the ultimate goal of increasing productive efficiencies along the value chain. So for those of us who weren't aware, this presentation sought to enlighten you on just a few key areas in which we have service delivery and which we operate from. We're now going to end the poll. I do hope the majority of persons would have given their feedback. I know some persons are on some devices that you're not able to manipulate, but we still appreciate your presence and we are happy you were able to join us. So, friends, colleagues, farmers, stakeholders, ladies and gentlemen, this session would have culminated the series of sessions that we started since Monday. So today is the last and final day of our Women in Agriculture Celebration online webinar under the theme Agriculture in Bloom. And we want to thank you so much for your attention. Thank you so much for your participation. Please feel free to reach out to us for additional information. And look out for our continued activities as we continue to celebrate our 30th year of existence. This session will be on our YouTube channel, so you can go back and play it and watch and listen and refresh yourself of the information that was presented today. Let me say a big thank you to the management and staff of RADA who were key in making this initiative a possibility. A big thank you to the Ministry of Agriculture, the Minister himself, Minister Floyd Green, who initiated this activity. A big thank you to him and his team for highlighting the women in agriculture and showing that we will always support the women in agriculture. We also want to thank our IPT team who has been so supportive and on the ball at our every call and ensuring that this activity was a success. To all our presenters who have been here with us since Monday and were critical in delivering what you would say, cutting edge, I would say cutting edge information to you, we want to say a big thank you. So once again, continue to remain safe. We're still in COVID times. Remember to wear your mask, sanitize as often as you can, and remember the physical distancing of 6 feet. So signing off for now, have a great day, and we will be in touch. Goodbye, everyone.